Welcome to Quid Game, a cross-channel collaboration started by Dudley of Yesterzine, in which a collection of retro YouTubers review a game which could conceivably be purchased in a branch of CEX for a quid.
Ah, rally! Who couldn't love a sport whose iconic pieces of equipment are the bobble hat and the thermos? Cheers! Yes, I chose this! Magnetic Field's Mobil 1 Rally Championship from 1999. Yours for a mere 50p.
Rally was an ideal topic for early PC games. Exciting, fast-paced driving, in which you never have to render a competing vehicle. My PC rallying career began at the wheel of a 16-colour Sierra in a budget re-release of 1987's Lombard RAC Rally. After a quick diversion through the arcades to hustle people who couldn't believe a 14-year-old was besting them at Sega Rally, I landed here at Network Q RAC Rally Championship. In a pre-Grand Prix Legends world, this was every bit a serious rallying sim, and I was hooked. I bought the X Miles add-on pack, the follow-up International Rally Championship, and then in 1999, the slick and stylish Mobil 1 Rally Championship. It ran at about 12 frames per second because my PC wasn't fast enough. But this is 2021, and even books come with more processing power than my old K6. Which brings us to the first pleasant surprise. This 22-year-old game installs and runs on a modern Windows 10 PC just fine. There's the occasional sound glitch, but given the title is firmly in that dark age of games, which usually can neither be installed on modern hardware or emulated, I'll take the occasional minor problem. Firing up the game, we're treated to some blaring music. And once the intro is finished, an obnoxiously stylish menu, because it's 1999 and Wipeout is still a recent memory. Come on, it's rallying, a sport in which you're actively encouraged to bring soup, and the highlight of the day is helping push a Skoda out of a ditch. You don't need to pretend the game is some sort of nightclub. Selecting one of the options that'll get us into a rally, we're presented with a selection of cars where every model has featured in at least one Max Power magazine. Perhaps one of the stages should be driving to the local Halfords, so I can fit an Alpine stereo and some TSW Venoms. Alright, let's pick a Nissan Micra and a Rally to Rallyathon. I guess with this car selection, if Magnetic Field had lost their Mobil 1 licence, they could have rebranded this as Extreme Takeaway Delivery Simulator. Anyway, I have my Nissan Micra, I have my special stage, and I have a chicken jalfrezi, mushroom rice and Peshwari naan that urgently need delivery sitting on the back seat. Control-wise, the game is okay. It shows its age by not really liking the Xbox controller's plethora of axes, and I can only map the acceleration to a face button, but it largely works well and the steering isn't too sensitive. However, physics-wise this definitely skews to the simplistic arcade side of things. It never played all that well with a wheel, and even through the controller, you can tell it doesn't have the satisfying sense of heft and driftability that made Sega Rally so enjoyable. Collision detection also shows its age, with primitive box-based geometry that doesn't always line up with what you see on screen. Those iconic rallying near misses will frequently become inexplicable bashes in Rally Championship, meaning you learn to stay well away from objects. In fact, the rallying is almost as shallow as some of the ditches are deep, with excursions off-road being barely distinguishable from the on-tarmac handling. But at least it has the grace to look good while you do so. Some of the stages bring to mind a retro demake of Forza Horizon 4, with their red telephone boxes, bits of castle and cliffside roads. Horizon-style gameplay is also where Rally feels most at home, when you select the arcade mode and can drift off into the zen of passing cars and hitting checkpoints without worrying whether the developers have bothered to accurately simulate the impact of an 18-inch Mighty Meaty and a free bottle of Coke on the handling of your Nissan Micra. Night races are particularly good for the era, reproducing the feeling of chasing your headlights down a country lane without going too far into dimly lit realism. But speaking of realism, it's in the more serious championship mode where this arcade heart sits most uneasily with the game's simulation trappings. It lets you have multiple head-on crashes with what seems like impunity, but then starts flashing cooling system critical, engine overheating, and lighting system failure at you, like you're driving a 20-year-old BMW. Despite these impending messages of doom, it still makes little difference to handling and performance until the car finally gives up, meaning between stage repairs, a little more than a matter of which particular health bar needs taking out of the red. So was this worth $34.99 or whatever it cost as a full price release? Hell no! Even if I'd had a PC which could run it properly. This was 1999. You could have had Age of Empires 2, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, SimCity 3000, Unreal Tournament, or if you really crave driving action, Need for Speed High Stakes for the same price. All vastly better games. But this is not 1999, and we are talking about a title whose current resale price is a mere 50 pence. That's only half of one go on a Sega Rally machine, assuming you could still find one. If you can put up with the occasional sound glitch and incomplete controller support, you could stick to the game's surprisingly satisfying arcade mode and more than get your money's worth. It's a good-looking rally racer that had the misfortune to be launched in a series known for its simulation credentials and ended up being neither a good sim nor a clear pick-up-and-play arcade blast. Conclusion? If you saw this on the shelf, for a mere quid, you could play the one good mode without ever worrying that the rest of the game doesn't measure up, and still have enough change left over to go halves on a pack of cuppa soups, if you wanted a more authentic rally experience.